What's up, guys? It's Al. It's Thursday. I'm here to take a first look at a Draftkings NBA lineup for tonight. We're going to look at some of the stars that I like. We're going to go over some of my favorite value plays. But remember, it is 8 a.m. here on the West Coast, and everything changes in NBA with the one swift tweet. That's all it takes. Some beat writer to tell us that this player who we previously thought was in is out. So be sure that you're able to be nimble. Make sure in NBA that you're at your workstation for the last 30 minutes before lineups lock, because the outlook of the entire slate can change with just one tweet, and you have to be able to be nimble. For guys that are probable or questionable, make sure that you form your if-then statements, meaning that if player X plays, then Y player is not in consideration. But if X player sits, then that is going to change the minutes played for player Y. It's going to change the usage rates for player YZ, and it's going to make those players versus their salary relevant or not relevant. So having your if-then statements and being at your computer station allows you to be as nimble as you need to be all the way up until lineups lock to make things happen for you so that you can be profitable on any night of NBA. If you can't do that, don't play. It's that simple. Do not set and forget a lineup at 10 a.m., at noon, and say, all right, yeah, I made my NBA lineup. I don't have to worry about anything the rest of the day, because that is a surefire way on how to lose money in daily fantasy basketball. So if you're new to this channel, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you finding the channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Ring the notifications bell. Hit like on this video. And if you want to find any of my other socials, my stream schedule is posted on Facebook and Instagram. I'm live on Twitch about 6 days a week during NFL season. One of those streams does not get exported, or a portion of that stream does not get exported to YouTube. That's the Sunday morning anti-Tinkercast. The last 45 minutes before lock, I take questions from subscribers on Twitch all the way up until lineups lock, till the last second. We go over just about everything that has changed and the content that I put out through the week, and sometimes that changes by Sunday morning, especially after inactives come out. So if you want to be a part of that, all the links to all my other socials are in the description. Just click show more and you'll find all the links that you need on how to get all that stuff. So why don't we just get right to tonight's slate. Right up top, we got LeBron James. One of the rules that I usually have is don't play players on the third game in 4 nights when the fourth night is including travel from the third night. This is somewhat of a unique situation. A, it's a 4-game slate, so we don't have that many other places that we can go. B, LeBron played 28 minutes last night. C, the first game of the three games in 4 nights was in Los Angeles. The second game was in Phoenix. Phoenix is a 1-hour flight from Los Angeles. It's not a difficult travel night. So they got home. LeBron got a full night's sleep after only playing 28 minutes because of the blowout last night. He didn't really have to play a full complement of minutes. He still posted 50 fantasy points in 28 minutes. That's just absurd. And I think he's going to be ready to go tonight to be playing his normal 32 to 35 minutes. And when you factor in the consideration that this is another night where Rondo and Wes are going to be out because of the suspension from the spit fight incident, Rondo Rousey, as Wob calls it. He's going to handle all the ball handling duties. He's going to initiate the offense. He's going to have the ball in his hand. His usage rate goes through the roof. They brought in Rondo. They brought in a lot of these guys for other purposes, not daily fantasy related, but realistically speaking, everybody that they brought in free agency was on a 1-year contract, so they can completely blow up this roster and rebuild it through free agency in the draft. Well, not really the draft. They traded everything, but like through free agency next summer when they can still sign more max players, and people want to come play in Los Angeles with LeBron and the core of young players that they have left on this Lakers roster. But from a basketball standpoint, having Rondo on the floor along with LeBron James allows for LeBron not to have a massive usage rate during the regular season. Now, during the playoffs, that's going to change. The ball is going to be in LeBron's hands just like it has been the last couple of nights when he's had 24 assists in 71 minutes, right? That's not going to continue when Rondo's on the floor. The ball handling duties are going to be split. LeBron's going to play more off ball. But tonight, Rondo's still out. His usage rate going to spike. His assist percentage going to spike. And his fantasy points per minute as a result will also spike. So I am not going to be off of LeBron on the third game in 4 nights, including travel. This is one of those spots where it's good to have rules when you're making lineups in NBA or in any daily fantasy sport, but you also have to know when, when you can break those rules. And this is situationally one of those spots where I think it is more than okay to break one of those rules. LeBron James is going to be one of the first guys that I plug into my lineup. Now, Russ Westbrook is somebody else that can post a triple-double anytime he takes the floor. He's going to play his mid-30s amount of minutes. He's going to have all the usage and all the assist percentage. The entire Oklahoma City offense runs through him when he is healthy and he's on the floor. The problem is, for me, with Westbrook versus LeBron James, and I think that Westbrook is somebody I'm going to want to have in tournaments for sure. But if you're building a cash game lineup, I'm going to go with LeBron over Westbrook, and here's why. A, LeBron's game has a much higher total, 22 points higher, I believe, at the time that I'm recording this. Now, that may not seem like a lot to you, but it is. It's at least 10 more points for his team, which means more opportunities for buckets, a couple more opportunities for assists, and a lot more missed shots because there's a lot more a faster pace. Now, the other side of that is Boston is very tough defensively. They have a lot of bodies that they could throw at Westbrook, so he's going to be a lot less efficient on a per-play basis than LeBron James should be against Denver. So while I do want to have a solid allocation of Russ Westbrook, if I'm going to be making 50 or 100, if you're making 10 or 20 lineups on this 4-game slate, because you're going to be more focused on your top players, right? A guy that would be 25% owned on a 9-game slate is probably going to be 45% owned on a 4-game slate. I'm not fading Russ Westbrook tonight. I simply feel that LeBron is a better play than is Russ this evening, all things considered. So Russ, somebody more tournament viable for me than cash game viable for me this evening. Nikola Jokic, look at this ridiculous line that he posted in only 23 minutes against Sacramento. 40 fantasy points in 23 minutes. That's absurd. Considering that a great player will average like 1.4 to 1.5 fantasy points per minute, and he was almost at 2. This is a guy that's going to play 30-plus minutes. Without Barton in this lineup, he's going to be handling a lot more of the offense. The offense already runs through him a good amount. It's going to run through him even more. He is going to be the guy that they're going to have to lean on to score a lot more than he typically does without Barton out there. His shots generally sit in the 10 to 15 range. It might range up to like 12 or 13 to 18. You know, like it'll shift higher by a few shots per game here. I'm not saying he's going to get 25. He's not that type of player. It's not what he does. Too unselfish, I guess. But it works out for him because a lot of his passes, he is a fantastic passer. One of the best center passers that I've ever seen, if not the best since like Arvydas Sabonis. Result in buckets for his teammates, which obviously impacts his fantasy output, as he's averaging 7 assists on the season, averaging a double-double currently. Threat to triple-double every night. You get bonus points for the double-double and the triple-double on DraftKings if and when he does those things. Can't not talk about Blake Griffin and the ridiculous game that he had the other night, shooting the ball 35 times, ending up with 82 fantasy points. I think we see a great season out of Blake. I don't think we see 82 fantasy points very often. For him, the key is going to be being as focused on the boards on a night-in, night-out basis, as it's something that he has not really done consistently the last couple of seasons. I think he can double-double here at 9,600. I think he's a very good play. I prefer Jokic at 98 to Griffin at 96. And I've talked as well to you guys about how much price sensitivity you have to have in NBA versus MLB or NFL. A couple hundred doesn't really matter in NFL. In NBA it does, because these players get to be able to score on both sides of the ball. Blake is a good ball handler. He is somebody who the offense runs through, but he's not quite the player at the same price to me that Nikola Jokic is. Like, if we ran this slate 1,000 times, I think Jokic outscores him a vast majority of those 1,000 times. I don't mind Blake Griffin tonight. I want to have him in tournaments, but I want to have less allocation of him than Jokic, and I want to have Jokic in my cash game lineup. So between those guys, Jokic is my dude. That's where I'm going to start there. So that means we're going to have to find some value. There's not a whole lot of really low-priced value right now. As I said, it's about 8 in the morning here in Los Angeles. Value can open up throughout the day. So right now I'm going to focus on the mid-range. And I mentioned that Barton is out, which leaves me with Jamal Murray seeing a ton of looks, right? This is a guy who has a rocket ship, or should, right next to his name, in my opinion. 29 fantasy points in 18 minutes the last game against Sacramento. Will Barton remains out, which means his usage rate should spike. His minutes should stay pretty consistent. And when I say stay pretty consistent, I mean in the mid-30s. Golden State's a tough matchup for him. He's not really good, a great defender. But against the Lakers, who not a team that plays any defense, and you're just going to try and outscore him. Jamal Murray going to be needed tonight. 16, 17 shots not out of the question. 20 shots not off the board for a guy that needs to score to be effective against a team that really doesn't have the ability to stop anybody. And this looks to be a very closely contested game and has the highest total of the night. Portland, Orlando at 215. Cleveland, Detroit at 220. Boston and OKC at 215. Denver and the Lakers, the last game of the night, sitting at a total of 237.5. A lot of scoring expected in this game, and more focused for the Denver Nuggets with Barton out. Jamal Murray going to take a ton of the shots from the backcourt. He's where I kind of want to start, but I do want to plug him in at shooting guard to open up the ability to play some more point guards. Speaking of point guards, Reggie Jackson's playing a ton of minutes. Minutes equals money. The number one correlation between real life and fantasy is the ability to put the ball in the basket. He can do that. He can also put his butt on the floor a ton. Yes, this game was an extended game. This is a game that went to overtime. This is a game that Blake went for 82, 50 real life points. But you look at these other two games, for under 6K, you're getting 32, 33 minutes. I think that's what we're going to see this evening. Right in that range, maybe 32 to 35 minutes. Not a sexy play, but right now he looks like a play that could pay off this salary to allow me to reach for the stars with LeBron James and Jokic. So he's going to be who I plug in at that spot. And then we've got a couple of other plays that are interesting. One that I think is where I really want to go is here with Paul Millsap. I think these minutes increase. Obviously, this game was the blowout. None of them really played in the fourth quarter. I think we see about 30 minutes out of Millsap. I think that the Lakers aren't going to be able to keep him off the boards. A double-double is possible. We might get 2 double-doubles in this game from the Denver Nuggets, as their guards aren't great rebounders, so all the rebounding duties fall on Millsap and Jokic. We'll go with 3 mid-range players, leaving us a need to find some extreme value. One extreme value play, somebody between 32 and 3,800 for the rest of the day, which will allow us to go with a couple of more mid-range players to fill out this lineup. So thank you guys for being with us today. I appreciate seeing you guys once again. I will be on stream later today after I record the Daily Fantasy Edge podcast, but I wanted to pump this video out for y'all on YouTube this morning before I had to get to all the other work that I have throughout the day. So thank you for being here. Click like on this video. Here's the subscribe button. There's another video for you to check out, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.